All right, Wade, in this video, I'm going to talk about two things that you can do to make yourself a more effective hitter. And there are two things that all good professional hitters do. And the first is balance. And that balance happens as you're taking your stride. So what I want you to notice here with Placido Polanco is that at his stance position, his eyes are slightly in front of his belly button. And that's really important because if he was to turn his head and look at us on the screen here, his head would be right down in the middle of his body. And if we look at you on the left-hand side, you'll see that you do a good job starting in balance. Your eyes are slightly in front of your center of gravity. So you start in balance. Now, when Polanco begins his negative move, you're going to see that when he picks up that foot, he stays in balance. The eyes, again, stay slightly in front of the center of gravity. So, again, if he was to look at us, his head would still be in the middle of his body. And if we take a look at you when you begin your negative move, right there, again, you do a nice job staying in balance. The eyes are in front of the belly button. Now, when you take your stride, that's where something happens and you kind of get a little bit off balance or out of center. Watch Polanco as he begins his stride forward and loads his hands. When the front foot gets down, you'll see that he's maintained that position with the eyes compared to the belly button. So his head is in the fire, and he's nice and balanced so that he can make good decisions and drive the ball with power. Now, when we watch you get to your stride position and your toe hits the ground, you're going to see that something happens where your belly button gets a little bit ahead of your eyes. In other words, you're probably leaning back a little bit. You know, you hear a lot of coaches say stay back, and they're right, you should stay back, but the weight when you stay back needs to stay on the inside of the back leg. And so when you take your stride, keep the weight on the inside of your back leg and try to get that head a little bit more in the fire like Polanco is right here. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is where your bat's at when your front foot lands. Every good professional hitter gets their bat in a position where the barrel of the bat is upright, like this. Your power hitters will get more of an angle towards their head. For example, if we pull up Pujols, you'll see when he gets to the end of his stride and he gets to his hitting position, he creates an angle right like this. Knob of the bat to the catcher. And Alex Rodriguez is the same way. Gets to the end of his stride. Look where the barrel of the bat is. Knob of the bat towards the catcher. And if you look at Miguel Cabrera, same thing. When he gets to the end of his stride, look at the bat angle. Now, these are your power hitters. They do this to create more leverage and more whip in the bat. Your contact hitters like Polanco, when they get to the end of their stride, their bat's a little bit more upright. Just a little bit easier to control the barrel of the bat this way. The knob of the bat's pointed towards the ground. You'll see the same thing with a guy like Ichiro, who, if he wanted, Ichiro could hit home runs, but he chooses to be a contact hitter. So when he gets to the end of his stride, you'll see right here that when he lands, there's less of that angle that like the power hitters have. Now, if we take a look at you when you get to the end of your stride, you're going to notice that your bat's in a position that's a little bit different than all these hitters. See Polanco here. And if we take a look at you, you're going to see that your bat goes this way and it kind of gets flat. Okay, it flattens out kind of behind your body. And that's a little bit of a problem in terms of power and weight distribution. You see, our power source is right here. Belly button, head, torso. So we want the barrel of the bat as close to our torso as possible because that's going to help us rotate our hips and create power. In addition to that, we want to keep the barrel of the bat as close to the hitting zone as possible as well because the closer the barrel is to the hitting zone, the quicker the barrel is going to get there. Now, when you load and you create that flat bat, what's happening is the barrel of the bat is further away from your power source, the center of your body. In addition, the barrel of the bat's further away from the hitting zone as well. So one suggestion I have for you is when you load those hands, let's try to keep that bat upright. Instead of going flat with your hands, try to get into this position here because it's going to help you get to the zone a whole lot quicker.